G'day, Heath here from PickinLessons.com. Sonan's Reel. This is such a great tune. This is a nice basic arrangement of the melody, so more accessible for the intermediate picker, but also great to have up your sleeve if you need to play a slightly faster tempo too. We've got two parts of the tune. We're in the key of D. In a moment, we're going to take a look at part A of this arrangement here in this video. But if you head to PickinLessons.com, you can grab yourself a copy of the tablature there for the arrangement. In the member section there, we'll break down the lesson for part B, and you'll also have some play along and backing tracks once you do get to know the tune as well. Okay, so let's have a look at part A here of this arrangement. Now we are in the key of D. If you know your D major scale, that's going to be a bonus. You can check out the beginner lessons at PickinLessons.com to have a look at the scale. But basically the D major scale, what the melody is using, up to that B there. So if you're comfortable with that fingering, we're going to stay in that fingering position. That's going to be what we use for the tune. What I like about this arrangement is that it balances itself out between some faster eighth note picking passages and some quarter note passages. So we kind of bounce between the two to a degree. So I'll show you what I mean. Just this opening passage. So notice our pickup notes are quarter notes. Then we have this eighth note passage, quarter notes through the arpeggio. So we're supporting the melody. We're not going over the top with lots of passing notes, yeah? And that's what I like about this arrangement. So it's great for an intermediate picker, as I mentioned, but also great for a faster tempo to have as a backup up your sleeve. So let's just break down what's happening. So the first thing is make sure you're picking in your right hand, the structure, you're really following the rhythm. So the idea is that any note that falls on the downbeat is a downstroke. And any note that falls on the offbeat is an upstroke. So as we hit measure 1, yeah, so 1, 2, and 3, and 4, and. Now, we're going to count it in 4 as we learn it, so 4 beats to the bar. When you get it up to tempo, you're going to feel it in cut time, which would be more like this. So that gives us 2 beats to the bar. So that'd be the normal way you're going to feel like a bluegrass tune. But as we learn it, we're going to feel it in 4, and that's what our picking hand follows. So 1, 2, and 3, and 4, and. Yeah? Have another go. Ready? And 1, 2, and 3, and 4, and. So the picking in the right hand should be down, down, up, down, up, down, up. And that's our alternating picking strategy, yeah? So the picking is following the rhythm structure. Down on the downbeat, up on the offbeat. Now as we move through to measure 2, we've got all downstrokes, so this is where it gets a little bit more chilled for the rhythm, yeah? So we're going 1, 2, 3, 4. So we don't have to rush so much or potentially feel so rushed, which is really nice. Let's just practice the first 2 measures together. So we've got the quicker, well, the busier eighth note passage, and then the more relaxed quarter note passage in the second bar. 3, 4. Something, if you're not really locked into your right hand following that pulse at the moment, it can help if you move your body. So whether that's tapping your foot or rocking back and forth, but we're moving everything in the same way. So as a downstroke comes in, you can rock forward. And as your upstroke comes in, you can rock back or lift your foot up and put your foot down. I'll show you, I'll exaggerate it just for these first 2 bars. So ready, and. Now, as our tempo increases, you're probably not going to move in the same way, but you still want to feel the groove, yeah? So that's really important. But as you're practicing it slowly, it's a really nice way of trying to lock in your technique. Let's move on through. So we have a similar concept throughout the tune. In measure 3, and then measure 4. Back to quarter notes before our pick up on the 4th beat. So in measure 3, 1, 2, and 3, and 4, and, yeah, just alternating through. Down, down, up, down, up, down, up. And then through the 4th bar, down, down, following the quarter note pulse with that down, up on the end. We'll come back through all this in a moment. Keep reinforcing in your practice where that pulse is. I think that's a really nice idea, and reinforcing that the picking right hand structure is following that pulse, yeah? It's a very typical way of going about these fiddle tunes. Second half is somewhat similar to begin with. And then as we finish it off, before we hit the repeat. So there in measure 7, 1, 2, and 3, 4, pretty cruisy. And then the final measure, 1, 2, and 3, 4. Yeah. Notice that downstroke, downbeat, offbeat, upstroke. That's really important. Left-hand fingering suggestions are in the tablature too, as is the picking structure as well. So when we break it down nice and slow and reinforce these ideas for our technique, it does become quite a straightforward tune to play. Like I mentioned, it is a basic version of the melody. You can certainly attempt it with a lot more notes surrounding the melody notes as well. And there's another version at pickinlessons.com you can check out too, which does that. But let's take this basic version, just have a once through. Each section does repeat, so we'd have twice through A and twice through B when we get there as well. So from the top, our pickup notes are on the 3rd and 4th count in when we're counting in 4. So 1, 2, 3, 4. There we go, part A, repeat it twice. Stay relaxed in your right hand. Make sure your fingers are consistently placed in the frets on your left hand, so fingering choice-wise. But it is a nice basic version of the tune, but it's a pretty tune. It's a really great one, and this version is great. Now, pickinlessons.com, we will continue this. We'll break down some ideas there for part B and have a look at what's going on. You'll also have the playing along and backing tracks, but you can also just grab the tab. So pickinlessons.com, I'll see you there.